Chapter 2. After that hideous class with Mr. Blech, my next 3 classes went smoothly, and finally it was time for lunch. I walked over to my locker and saw 2 figures already standing there. One was an athletically built boy with sandy blonde hair and the brightest grass green eyes anyone could ever know. And then there was a pretty brunette with the most alluring brown eyes. My best friends! Hey, losers! I say in greeting as I approach them. The girl, Maria, squeals and tackles me to the ground. Anne, I missed you! I can't breathe. I choke out as I struggle out of her grasp. The boy, Caleb, just snickers and shakes his head at our slightly deranged best friend. Sorry, Em squeaks as she lets me go before a wicked smirk crosses her face. I heard someone got in a tiff with our gremlin of an English teacher today. She snickers as I groan in response before letting her know of the blue-eyed demon. I'm really sweating. That was the cause of my ultimate downfall, and now probably my unsuccessful future. Cheer up, Buttercup. Oh, this is a guy. Cheer up, Buttercup. At least now we can all go home together for the next 2 weeks. Caleb tries to console me. Do they both have detention too?
After school.
Maria and Caleb. Oh, if I just kept reading. Got it. Maria and Caleb were both athletes. Caleb was on the lacrosse team, and Maria was on the swim team and the cheer squad. They had practice most days after school. I suppose that's one plus point, but this 2-week sentence also means less time for dance, I grumble. Whether you practice as much or not, you're still a great dancer, and you know you'll put in the same number of hours into dance regardless of whether you have a detention or not. Maria quips. I'm gonna throw up. Not because of this, I just feel like I'm talking a lot. I don't argue with her there. Dance is a passion! All caps. And I would pursue it at all costs. Plus, she adds, who knows, maybe this blue-eyed demon who you so vaguely spoke about is hot. It could be an epic high school fling. That's so random. Once again, I groan at the thought one, because it is the most ludicrous idea. But, I understand. Once again, I groan at the thought. 1, because it's the most ludicrous idea. But 2, because he was hot. You know me. I don't like hot guys.
That was written?
No, that was just I just went a little off script there. I don't want to think about the destroyer of my dreams. I just want food in my belly. My friends laugh as we shuffle our way to the cafeteria. After lunch, I make my way to my next class, AP Chemistry. It sucked that I had only 2 out of my 8 classes with my best friends, but that's the price I had to pay if I wanted what I wanted, and you know I always get what I want. I also ad-libbed that. I enter the class just as the bell is about to go off and find a seat in the back of the classroom. My teacher starts off the class and is in the middle of introducing a new topic when he is interrupted by a loud opening of the door. And the person had the rest of the girls in class sighing, and the teacher and I narrowing our eyes. The universe had punished me for the extra sweet I had when I was 8, because lo and behold, is low L-O? Is that... There stood the blue-eyed demon standing in front of the class, smirking right at me. I was so preoccupied at glaring at him that I missed the interaction he had with my teacher and just saw him walking towards me. Wait, what? Why is the world so cruel? The devil walked past my desk and stepped behind me, and I tried my best to ignore his gaze, burning the back of my head. He no doubt had that smug look on his face. Just as the teacher started class again, he leaned forward and whispered, "Someone looks awfully happy to see me." Ew, who does this? Not dignifying him with a verbal answer, I merely turn around and kick his chair out from under him. The shock on his face was priceless, and I had to conceal my elation so that I wouldn't get busted. The teacher turned around and glared at the boy on the floor behind me. "Anything you'd like to share?" he said pointedly. "No, sir, you're doing it amazing." What? "No, sir, you're doing amazing, sweetie," the demon quipped. "Good. Then I'd like to award you with 2 weeks of detention." Ooh, this is where we fall in love and detention. The teacher said. The teacher was fuming at this point, but probably thought it was best not to waste any more class time, and went back to teaching. As soon as his back was turned, the demon leant forward and once again said, "Ew, ew." Oh, she's feisty. I like him that way. And normally I wouldn't reply with such a clever remark, but my mind was reeling at the fact that I had unintentionally subjected myself to 2 weeks of after-school quality time with the demon himself. Life really was cruel. For the rest of the lesson, I was dreading the end of school and was so preoccupied with the thoughts that the demon's constant notes and interruptions didn't even faze me. The moment class ended, I bolted out of the classroom and ran straight down to the detention hall. I had a plan in mind, but it would require perfect execution. First step is to make sure Bleh was in his room, which obviously he wasn't. So I paced in his classroom, anxiously waiting his arrival. Hurry. I whispered to myself, before the demon gets here. But of course, nothing I ever speak comes to fruiting. Because right after my silent plea, a voice breaks the silence of the room. "Well, sweetheart, if you wanted to spend some quality time with me, you could have just asked. You didn't have to get me attention. I'd rather we be unsupervised, if you know what I mean." "Shut your mouth, you grasshole!" I hissed at him.
You have to do like a hiss.
"Shut your mouth, you grasshole!" I didn't want to spend another waking moment with him. I feel like all of this interaction with him has aged me 10 years. And I've only known him 10 seconds. Imagine what an extended period of time would do to me. And that's what we're about to find out. A little foreshadowing. Okay. Grasshole. He had a full out laugh now. "Oh, do we have an innocent one here? Just say the word, princess." "Don't tell me what to do," was all I said before I turned my attention to Mr. Bleh, who just walked in the room. I put my plan into motion. You see, Mr. Bleh was widely known as the gremlin of a teacher for his rather horrible personality and awful stench. Oh my gosh. An awful stench, was also unsurprisingly very inexperienced in the field of women and more. Oh no, what am I about to do? Any topic even I'm going to say I got my period, got it. Any topic of even relating to being a woman sent him running for the hills, and I fully intended to use that to my advantage.
You're not flirting with him, don't worry.
Okay, good. I was kind of a little worried there. I turned to him, put my hands on my back as to cover or hide something, and grimaced a little bit before I spoke, and said, "Sir, I've had a little bit of an unforeseen circumstance pop up." "What is it, Mr. Hogue?" He snared at me before looking up and saw the way I was standing and noticed me mouthing, Mr. Black visibly paled, and said, "You're free to go home early, Miss Verhoeven. Also, there's no obligation for you to attend attention for the next week or so, for as long as your condition persists." I suppressed the urge to jump and fist pump the sky and shout for joy, and instead, I kept the grimace on my face and thanked Bleh before grabbing my bag and speeding out of the class. I didn't stop running until I was out the school doors. Yes, sweet, sweet freedom. Yes, sweet, sweet freedom. There was a spring in my step as I walked back home as I had gotten out of my first week of detention. Now all I had to do was come with a plan to skip out the next week. But how? Well, that's a thought for another day. I ran into my house and into the kitchen to get a snack. I pulled out some home-baked pretzels, and artichoke dip from the fridge. Okay. And as I closed it, I noticed a note on the door. "Hi, Noelle and Ryan. Both of you are due at your father's house today and for the next week. Go quick, but leave me pretzels. Love, Mom." I giggled as I read the note and went to pack my bags. I stopped at the top of the stairs to let my brothers know we had to get ready. "Ryan!" I said as I knocked on the door and walked in, and boy, did I have to do a double take. My brother was lying shirtless on his bed, and his skin was orange, like he had gotten a really bad spray tan. But then a closer look at his room revealed that it was not, in fact, a spray tan, but goldfish dust all over. There were goldfish on his bed, goldfish on the floor, goldfish on the wall, and even in the ceiling. His pet rats were loose, nibbling on the goldfish. "What the hell?" I exclaimed. "What?" my brother ever so smartly replied. "It's a science track thing. You wouldn't understand." Shaking my head, I walked out of the weirdo's den and into my room. I would never understand him.
You're never going to.
Oh well, to my dad's.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Reading Fanfics with Sanel, where I write fanfics for you and you read them on camera. So,
38 minutes.
Okay. So this episode is actually going to be chopped up into several bits because it's 38 minutes. So you'll see this end scene multiple times.
Wait, what? You're just going to put it at the end of every part?
For each half chapter, I think.
Half chapter.
So I will write more chapters and I'll have her read them and until we finish this fanfic. And then you can message me your fanfic requests and or just request for a person to write a fanfic about. Then I'll bring them on here and write their fanfics. Also, the next step is emulating this fanfic into a movie where I get her and Eric Flowers to find love in his school. Thank you. End scene.